Okay, my dear Coach Saunders.
Gregory.
Eagle looking great. Your go.
And we're rolling, Gregory.
Greg Saunders.
Wow. Hey, great.
Show us the skills that have made you a media darling.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, 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 welcome to the Stateline Show.
People are always so impressed with the uniqueness of snowflakes, but potatoes are equally unique and nobody cares. I'm Greg. He's Tom. Maybe he's a little less frustrated than me. How you doing, buddy? Good morning.
I'm wonderful. Potato chips are all different, though.
Potato chips are all
Or
different.
did you say potato chips? Yeah.
I just said potatoes.
Oh, yeah. Well, potato chips are different, too.
That's true. It is the 29th day of April, the year 2023, the latest it has ever been.
In the history of mankind.
Welcome. You made it. Congratulations. I'm Greg. Tom here. It's your Saturday morning Stateline show. We've got a special guest waiting in the wings to bring on, and we're looking forward to learning all about mission-driven impact and what that could mean for you and your not-for-profit, your favorite not-for-profit that you work for, that you support, that you're on a board of, whatever that might be. We want to share some great information for you to help you do well, do good, better. How about that? You got a ghost in your room? What's buzzing around you?
Me?
You were looking up, and I was like, "Oh, is there something?"
Oh no, I was actually looking for
a bear.
this right here.
Boston Bear, Green Bay Bear. There we go.
Bear. This is Aaron Rodgers. There you go.
After 18 seasons, ladies and gentlemen, the Green Bay Packers and four-time MVP quarterback Aaron Rodgers have parted ways. He's gone to New York City. He's joined the Jets. And I'm happy.
All I can say is we will never forget you, Aaron Roberts. We will never forget you.
Rodgers.
You know the old thing, we will never forget you, Brent Favre. Yeah. I died laughing when I saw that. I'm thinking about having a shirt made up saying, "We will never forget you, Aaron Roberts." I think I'm going to do that.
There's two schools of thought on that, in my opinion, anyway. There's two. There's one that is I'm dissing you because I no longer like you. I never really did like you, and now I hate you. And then there's a second one that says, I only rib on you because I love you. You know that.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened with Brett Favre. We hated Brett Favre for some of us did. I don't think I did. I was upset. I was mad. It was almost like the girlfriend that just kind of says, "Well, I'm breaking up with you." Okay, all right, I know. Okay. What? You're going out with Jake, my best friend? What? That's when he came back to the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
That was ooh.
Well,
I could handle the Jets, but no Minnesota Vikings. And then you come back to Lambeau and beat us and make us look bad. Ooh, that was not good.
I don't know if the Aaron Rodgers saga is going to continue on that trajectory. It might. I don't
see it happening, but that would be kind of really, really weird if it did. And then he can lose the chance of the Super Bowl by throwing an interception on his last pass in the NFL.
Here because I want this recorded, I'm going to put this out there, and here's right. I believe that the more likely scenario is this: a season with the Jets. If it goes the same way that Brett's season did, where they're like the first half of the season, they're kicking everybody's butt, they're looking good, they're on their way, and then a few key injuries derail their playoff hopes, and they win the season. If that happens to Aaron Rodgers with the Jets, and if the Jets decide this was a mistake and they're talking about switching him out, I would see him more likely going to the Detroit Lions than the Minnesota Vikings, and doing with the Lions what Favre did for the Vikings. take them to the playoffs.
I agree with you 99%. The 1% we differ on is I think San Francisco 49ers. I think if the 49ers have a season this year where whoever their quarterback is, Brock Purdy, Trent,
Jake the janitor.
Jake the janitor, yeah. Who's Trent? Not Trent.
Trey Lance.
Who's Trey Lance?
Yeah,
or maybe they grab somebody off of the waiver, whatever, whoever their quarterback is, and they don't make it to where even their expectations were, let alone exceed them. Then I see Aaron Rodgers saying, you know what? I've always wanted to be with the Niners. Let me come there. I will get you a Super Bowl. My last year. Be my last hurrah, like Johnny Unitas or like Earl Morrall or whatever. One of those that came in and,
that's actually that's a likely scenario. And it's more likely scenario than the Lions thing. I just think if he has that inkling, if he wants to come back to the NFC North and kind of stick it to the Packers, it will be with the Lions, not with the Vikings. That's my inclination right now. But anyway, let's get to our big number of the week and to our guest before we get too long here. We do have a big number to do. Let's do it. Our current race to 10 has Tom way out in front, but he's not comfortable at all. It's 4-1 against Joann in our current race to 10. And this week's big number of the week is 600,000. 600,000. Our answer is flames or floats. And we'll give you the answer before the end of the show. Flames or floats. Go ahead, Google it. I don't care. There's no cheating in the race to 10 big number of the week. Okay. There's
no need to Google for me. I already have my guess in there. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We got to mirror your camera. It's on the backwards thing, but okay.
Yeah, I know.
Good deal. So our quick shout outs here this week, before we get to our guest, I want to give a shout out to, let's see, where'd my notes go? I want to give a shout outs to OJ and to Grant on their accepted offers this week. I haven't been able to talk much about home sales accepted offers this year because it's been such a tough year for buyers to get their offers accepted. There's so many more buyers and sellers, and multiple offer situations everywhere. You're competing against other buyers every time you make an offer. So you gotta be a strong buyer. And
you sold a home to OJ Simpson? Wow.
I didn't say that. OJ and Grant, congratulations on your accepted offers this week. Both of those I think are going to be good deals, and one's going to close sooner than the other because one of them is actually new construction that's about 60% finished, 50 to 60% finished. So they got about 80 days before they're actually done with the whole house. So kudos to them. Want to give a shout out to the Chartwell ad agency of Rockford. They had some auditions this week for a commercial they are doing for a bank in another state. So I auditioned because I did a commercial last fall for a local bank, and I still have yet to see that commercial on TV, but it has aired. I know it's aired before. Someone saw it. So I have a little tiny bit non-speaking part in a commercial for one of our local banks. This commercial is going to air in like Nebraska or something like that. So I got a role with a speaking role in a commercial that's going to be airing in another town. So thank you, Chartwell Agency, for that opportunity. I'm looking forward to filming this commercial.
And it's so cool. We'll of course play it on the Saturday morning.
Hopefully they'll let me do that. I think they would. Maggie Polstein, who used to do the news on Channel 13 WREX, she now works for the Chartwell Agency. And not that she was my in for this particular gig, but it was fun to walk into the audition and see her sitting there going, "Hey, nice to see you, Mr. Saunders. That's nice to be here." So that was fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
Nice to be seen. Speaking of WRX TV, shout out to Rob Wernz over there, who invited me to be at a kind of like a mini advertising marketing seminar at Prairie Street Brew House this week. WREX was putting that on for some of their advertisers and potential advertisers and friends of the station and such. And so I got to have lunch with Rob and hear a marketing expert guy out of Iowa talk about TV and its uses and he was generous in giving some marketing strategies to those that attended, even if they didn't advertise with the TV station. He was giving some good hard facts on what good marketing is, and what wasted money can look like if you try to market too much in too many places, which is one of the things I think we've talked about in the past too. Is and Zach will probably chime in his 2 cents on this when we bring him on. You can market yourself really, really well, but if you spread yourself too thin, you're not getting enough repetition. And the guy at the seminar basically put it this way. He said, I talk about glasses. If you've got marketing money and you've got a bunch of glasses to put it in, you should really put it all in 1, maybe 2, not 8 or 10 glasses. And that just spreads yourself too thin. You're better off focusing so that people get repetition, because repetition is important. Anyway, all that to say, thank you for the invite, Rob. It was very insightful, and appreciated hearing from Jim out of Iowa on that. Kudos to Duraclean, who hosted In Crowd this last week. They had a huge event. It was the weather was just perfect. It was beautiful Thursday night. They had a Hawaiian luau theme going on. I don't know what the final numbers were for attendees, but it was very well attended, the biggest one of the year so far. Good food.
I was actually going to go out there, but it just my Thursday got too busy.
Yeah,
I had tutoring and then I had trivia and all that. I had some time between, but I just couldn't do it.
I'm pretty sure people hung out there till about 8:30 or 9. I had a showing at 8, so I had to leave a little bit earlier than I wanted to, but it was a good event, Duraclean In Crowd. And next month, we'll tell you when John comes on in May, where we're going to have In Crowd for the last Thursday in May. I'll give you this hint. It's in McChesney Park. And Mosaic had their annual Partners and Possibilities luncheon this last week, the first one they've had in person since COVID. And it was a wonderfully successful event. Last I heard, they raised over $100,000, which was amazing. Their goal was like 75,000. So they blew out their goal. It was a wonderful lunch. And Partners and Possibilities, if you want to donate to Mosaic and help adults with developmental disabilities here in the Rockford area, you still have that opportunity. Check out Mosaic in Rockford. And one last shout out for today is happy birthday to our director, Amanda from Footloose. Our Footloose director, Amanda, celebrated a big birthday yesterday, and we celebrated with her we were at Fozzie's last night after rehearsal. Had a good time celebrating a big birthday for her. So happy birthday.
I saw that Stinky Cheese Man. You were the star of that show, right?
I ain't in Stinky Cheese Man. No, I didn't. That's the kids show this year.
All right.
In August. All right. So our guest this week is actually a Rockfordian, or at least was a Rockfordian. Maybe he loves Parkinsian. I'll let him correct me. I know he grew up in our area and went to school with my kids, but now he's doing things all over the country. Zach Thanasilankul is on with us. Good morning to you, Zach.
Hey, good to see you, Greg. Tom, good to meet you as well.
Good to meet you.
We're going to put you right here on the big box and say, welcome, welcome, welcome. For those who don't know you and have never met you, real quick background, who you are, where you're from, and let's start with young Zach and work up to where you are today.
That's a long story, Greg.
I know.
I will say, I grew up. I love Parkin. How do you say it? Love Parkinson? Love Parkinson?
I've
never heard that before. That's amazing. But I grew up there, and I'm actually currently sitting in my parents' house down on the south side of town now. 61109, I think is the zip code down here. So one tip of the city to the other one. And I grew up, best friends with Greg's son. My mother always calls him her second son. I'm sure would to this day. Went to school together, and then had a long journey through school, through college, through graduate school. I've lived in a bunch of different places around the country. I'm privileged to call New York City home, but for the past 2 years, I've been traveling around Latin America. Just spent 6 weeks in Miami. And so where to next? I don't know, but we'll see.
And the reason you travel so much is your business is kind of, I would say it's a little bit unique. You probably don't run into too many people that do what you do.
It depends how you look at it. So I guess the the sticker or the street sign of my business would be that I'm a nonprofit communications coach and consultant. And so I help especially small and startup nonprofits get the word out by clarifying their message, simplifying a donor journey, and attracting an engaged audience. But I think the way that I do it is often unique. I'm not the typical consultant who has a proposal and a plan and comes in. We used to do that. I used to run a marketing agency for nonprofits. But now I find myself doing a lot more education. So it looks like workshops. It looks like really hands-on coaching and training for founders, things like that. And that allows me to travel around the country and abroad and do the things that I do. And now I get to work with amazing people doing amazing work.
I'm going to assume something and let you correct me. Okay. Here's what I'm going to assume. And you can tell me if I'm way off base. I'm going to assume that you were working with this marketing company, working with not-for-profits in the past, and you probably saw over and over and over again these very passionate people who founded something, who they founded their, Center for Nonprofit Excellence in ABC, whatever it is that they're passionate about. They're so passionate, they want to get the word out so bad. And they do kind of what I just explained before I brought you on. They start spreading themselves so thin, they're just kind of shotgunning their message everywhere, spray, and they don't get any traction. And they're wondering why their passion isn't being felt by the masses when they probably should be focusing on something, a target, laser focus rather than the shotgun approach. Am I anywhere near what you kind of experienced?
Yeah, I mean, let me say that.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, we're going to go way out on the limb here, but
okay.
And I think something I heard a while ago is that an entrepreneur is someone who takes responsibility for someone else's problems, and I've always felt that. I always felt like there are so many good ideas in the world. I work with people who want to stop climate change and end hunger and poverty and, just provide a better future for all. But the idea isn't enough. And so a lot of times what you see, and especially nonprofit founders, but nonprofit teams in general, is the whole passion let us hear thing, right? If you are a nonprofit marketer, you might not have a background necessarily in marketing communications. If you're a nonprofit founder or an executive director, you might not have a background in the C-suite or being a director of another organization. And so people come into these things driven by the passion, driven by the energy and the idea, but they don't necessarily have the skill set behind it. And so that's why people like me come in, and there's lots of amazing coaches and consultants in the nonprofit space. We come in and we upskill people. We help to build capacity by leveling them up. To what you just said, we call this random acts of marketing, and it is probably the biggest killer of nonprofit. When nonprofits just try to raise awareness, when they try to get the word out, there's sort of a minimum threshold you have to hit, whether it's the amount of prospecting you're doing, whether it's your time on social media, whether anything you're doing, there's going to be a minimum threshold to see it work. But nonprofits, unfortunately, are spread so thin. They're often understaffed and under-resourced. And so they're pulled in so many different directions. And you see that there's never enough initial energy to get the rocket off the ground. And so we try.
So one way to describe what you're talking about, kind of like in the housing industry, like new houses, they have something called a finisher who goes in and makes sure they fine tune everything. Okay, this here needs to do this. This here needs to be here. Something along those lines to basically put the finishing touches on it and finish the product and get it moving in the right direction. Does that maybe describe a little bit of what you do?
Yeah, I think that's the work a lot of people do. I would say I'm a little bit more of a starter, right? People come to me and they say, nothing we're doing is working. We've got this great idea, but people aren't donating. No one knows about us. And it's like, okay, you just don't know how to put the right strategy in place. And so let's talk about that strategy. Let's talk about how we attract people, how we attract potential donors, how we nurture those relationships, and then how we actually sustain that over time. Then I'm going to hand that off over to you or over to a friend of mine or something like that. They're going to come in and finish that for you.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes more sense.
So when people call you, or then people look up you online and they see your website here that says make the impact you were called to make, helping founders and social entrepreneurs communicate their ideas better so they can get the word out and make an impact. They book a call with you, and you've got a pretty awesome little setup here to help people book a little 15-minute triage call is what you labeled it as.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people, well, let me say it like this. I'm sure we've all been on calls with people who want to take an hour, 90 minutes of our time. Nonprofit directors don't have 2 minutes, oftentimes, let alone 15. And so it's just quick. Hey, real quick, let's just have a conversation about who you are and the work you're doing. Is there a way that I can help? Is there a way that someone I know can help? Great. We're just going to put that initial plan in place, and then if it makes sense, we'll take the next step. But yeah, it's a pretty seamless process. I just love getting to talk to people. I love being on the phone and meeting people with all these great ideas, and so it works out pretty well.
First impressions are very important. So that first 15 minutes, that'll give you both an idea if they want to work with you, if you want to work with them, if they've got a message that resonates with you. I think that's an excellent way to get people in the door and at least find out if you're compatible.
Yeah, definitely. I think no one likes to be sold to, right? And
Oh,
so I think that's the biggest barrier that I see from people ultimately making a decision that helps themselves, right? Is they think, oh, I could get on a call, but then the sales guy is going to push me and try to take my money. No, I just want to have a conversation about who you are. I'm definitely not someone who rushes things. I have some good Midwestern sensibility about me, despite being a New Yorker these days. And so, yeah, it's like, let's just have a conversation and then see what's next. Oftentimes I can't help with the problem. And so I'm going to introduce you to someone who can, or if I can, then we're going to spend, some good quality time working out a way that's aligned. And so for me, that just always felt more comfortable.
That's what I was going to ask you. If 10 people call you Monday, how many of those 10 on average do you think you can help or will help? Do you say to 2 or 3 of them, I can't help you, I'm going to send you off to Bob or whatever?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of just what we're here to do. I think as coaches and as consultants, as agencies, contractors, all of us in the ecosystem, we're here to serve your mission. We're here to amplify your mission. And so, unfortunately, this happens in every industry, but people just take anything that comes their way. I think, excuse me, 2 weeks ago, I referred someone to my number one competitor. And I don't see that happening a lot outside of the nonprofit industry, but it happens. Man, the Midwestern allergies, but it is the ragweed or pollen or something. But that happens in our industry all the time. I think there's a greater call to serve and a greater, if what helps you is actually going with someone else. I don't want your money. That's not fair. I think speaking of what's fair, I think. That's why the headline of my website is "Make the Impact You Were Called to Make." I just feel like it's not fair in the world to have an incredible idea that could really make so many different people's lives better, but then not be able to get it out. That's just not right, And so I think all of us in the sector are working together to make that not as much of a problem as it is.
It's a really good business practice because that's going to come back around for you as well. And I think people respect you more when you say, you know what, I would love to help you, but I really can't because this guy over here, my competitor, can help you better. Greg and I are both DJs, among other things, and we have that same concept. Like, you know what, not my cup of tea. I'm going to go ahead and send you to someone else who I think can. Maybe they're better with the younger music or whatever. So
Totally.
I like that concept. I think it's very, very good.
Some people like to call it karma. Call it whatever you want. It's being kind. It's kindness. So I'm putting up another page here on Zach's website because he also does speaking engagements. If you were looking to have a speaker come in and talk to your group, speaking engagements are also something that Zach does around the country. What would you say is your topic du jour when you do a speaking engagement?
So my talks really focus around brand messaging, digital marketing 101, as I call it, and storytelling. And so really the sweet spot is for early nonprofit founders or small nonprofit teams where they're trying to get out of that founder stage. They're trying to grow, but they don't have the right things in place, the right communication strategies in place, the right branding in place. And so a lot of my talks revolve around that. So recently, I need to update that page. Recently, I've been getting featured on a couple of podcasts and speaking at a couple of events and things like that. And so, the list is growing, and so am I suppose.
Sweet, sweet. Is there someone or an organization locally? I know you've been traveling all over the place the last number of years, so you probably haven't spent a whole lot of time in the Rockford region over the last 8 years or so. But is there someone locally that you have worked with in the past that would give you a little endorsement, if you will?
Yeah, my nonprofit journey actually began here with the YMCA of the Rock River Valley. And so that's, the Y on Madison Street downtown. That's the Peoria Family YMCA, all those together, the Rock River Valley YMCA. It's the seventh largest Y district in the country. And I was extremely fortunate to work here under the direction of Mike Brown, who's very well known in the community and is actually now further on to Fort Worth, Texas. But that gave me exposure, not just to the Y, but to many of the nonprofits that the Y partners with. Gigi's Playhouse, we got to work with everyone from the Rockford Public School District, BMO Harris Bank, who they do philanthropic projects here in the city. And so that was a really cool way just to get introduced to the way nonprofits worked in a community that's unique. Rockford is not New York City. Rockford's not San Francisco. Rockford is, unique people, amazing people, and unique city with oftentimes unique challenges as well. And so getting to see the nonprofit ecosystem here, I think, was really inspiring for me. That experience led me, when I was in graduate school, I was living in Denver, and I was able to do some work there with people who were coming out of homelessness and incarceration, getting job training and mental health services, things like that. And then when I left grad school, I thought that's just the work that I just want to keep doing it. That it mattered to me when a lot of other things didn't.
Nice. Well, we've put a link to your website in our chat here today. So if you're watching on our Facebook Saturday Morning Stateline Show page or on our YouTube channel, you've got the link right there. You can just click, go right to Zach's website, book a 15-minute call. 15 minutes, give a little chat, find out if what you're doing and what he does can mutually benefit each other. And if it doesn't, he'll try to direct you in a place that it can. And if it does, great. You guys can work forward and look forward to doing some awesome stuff together. Is there anything we haven't asked you about that you want to make sure you get out there today, that people know about what you do with Mission Driven Impact?
I think we're okay. Let me just say one thing is that where the action happens is really over on my LinkedIn. You just start typing up my name, Zach with an H, Thana, look for the really long name. It comes up, I swear. But there I post daily marketing, messaging, mindset tips, things like that, especially for nonprofit founders.
I'm a big advocate of LinkedIn, which is really where you and I reconnected again, was on LinkedIn. And for those who are not yet on LinkedIn, or if you maybe years ago when LinkedIn kind of first launched, you put your info on there and then you haven't looked at it or touched it in 5 or 6 or 7 years, get back on there, for goodness sakes, update your information. I think maybe you'd agree with me. LinkedIn has kind of become more like Facebook used to be. Not completely, but close. And there's a lot more social interaction going on LinkedIn that I'm really excited about.
Yeah. I actually, I'm one of these, I don't know if you follow the trend of like digital minimalism, things like that. I actually really do not like social media or technology in general.
Amen.
But LinkedIn,
doesn't either.
LinkedIn is, versus like Instagram, where you're just so overstimulating and getting popped with ads, and Facebook is,
as we all gather on a social media website on Saturday morning. But anyway,
LinkedIn is great for just forging personal connections. You can send voice notes and video clips and just say, hey, let's jump on a call, get to know each other. And people are very, very receptive there. So I've met some of the coolest people and heard some really great stories on LinkedIn.
Well, LinkedIn is probably, like you said, Greg, Facebook, but without all the drama, without, I'm just doing my dishes today, heading to the store, whatever. All of that stuff filtered out, done, gone. So no, I get it. And Greg, I'm going to take your advice. I've been on LinkedIn for a number of years. I never do anything with it. I'm far too busy. It's almost like I don't need it, but then maybe I do. So I'll take your advice. Hold me accountable.
Well, there's two things I would encourage people to do when it comes to social media. Number one, I would turn off all of your notifications on your phone. You'd make social media, make you the boss of your social media, not your social media the boss of you. So when your notifications are on and you're always going, oh, someone else posted, oh, someone commented on someone liked, this will then consume you because it's notifying you every single time something happens on your social media pages. So my advice
that, my neighbor's cat stuck in a tree. Wow.
Yay. Turn off your notifications. Make yourself the boss of your social media. That's one. The second thing is, again, being the boss of social media, you control who you're following, who's following you, how much you're listening to them. You can turn off, like, for example, on Facebook, if someone's getting really over dramatic about some subject you care nothing about, you can, what do they call it? There's a word for it where you can basically shut off their notifications for 30 days. You can just pause hearing from them completely for 30 days. Just like, you know what? I'm going to let that blow off for a while. I'll come back to hearing about all the drama later. But you can do that to each individual person if you have to do that. So be the boss of the social media. Don't let the social media be snooze. Thank you, Linda. Yeah, there's a snooze factor function. Especially
either that or she's calling the show boring. One of the two. I don't know.
Linda's like, I'm going back to bed.
Yeah, this is a snooze fest. Goodbye.
Mark, you can listen to these yahoos. I'm done with them. No. Yes, there's a snooze feature on Facebook, and it probably is on other social media too, where you can say, all right, I'm going to snooze that person or that topic for a while because I've heard enough of it. So there's my TED talk on social media for this morning.
Yeah. Well, very good. I've done that with my phone. I've turned off all notifications except for my messages and my never. Yeah. Okay, good. We didn't really think that, but I turned off all my notifications.
I got to pop in and say, I get made fun of all the time, but for years, my phone has been in black and white because the colors work to, keep you addicted to your phone, especially and things like that. So it's really overstimulating. So keep the phone in black and white. There's things like Kill My Newsfeed was an old plugin for Google Chrome and stuff. Log into Facebook, LinkedIn, it'll hide your feed for you. Get onto what you need to do.
That's a really good point, Zach. The black and white idea is probably something else that would help.
You're gonna get some weird looks.
Yeah, that's right. Awesome.
You're from the 50s.
Yeah, born in the wrong time,
That's right.
I've been saying since I've been a teenager, my dream. Everyone wants the newest iPhone. I want the jitterbug phone. With like the giant numbers. You can only call like 5 people. Like that's me.
Yeah, good old flip phone.
Yeah,
big number. Yeah. No, I agree. This thing drives me nuts. I had to change my service yesterday because I wasn't getting good service up near Janesville area. And it was such a pain in the butt, just such pain, pulling out the SIM card, putting it back in, making a phone call, making sure everything was right. It was like, no, not worth it. Not worth it.
Yeah.
Well, check out Zach on LinkedIn on his webpage and book that 15-minute call with him. Just chat, get to know whether or not he's a good fit for what your organization is doing. And if you love and like and support an organization that's not local, contact Zach too. I mean, if you're supporting something in Colorado or Florida or New York or Texas, whatever, this guy's all over the country and obviously through technology can do a lot of stuff that way and might be willing to fly to your next event to do a speaking engagement. So check in with Zach and really appreciate your time this morning. I hope you get a lot of traction off of our talk here today.
Yeah, it means a lot to me. Thanks, guys.
You got it.
Very nice meeting you. Very impressive.
Thank you, Zach. Zach T, Zach Thanksgiving, or Zach Thanasilankul. I can say it.
Zach Thanksgiving. I like that.
Years of practice.
If you're just kind of looking at it, I can see that.
Thank you, buddy. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, see you too.
All right, there goes Zach.
Is that what you were saying with Thanksgiving? Because it looks like Thanksgiving.
He puts that on at least one of his social media feeds where he just calls himself Zach Thanksgiving because that's what he was called for so long as a kid. But
yeah.
Anyway, that was great. Check out.
Really good. He's a very impressive young man.
He is, and
a
lot of places, got a lot of stories to tell. Speaking of stories to tell, we got some stuff going on around the region that we need to tell people about. And depending on how loud it is at PAWS, I'll see if Joann can come in. Good morning, Joann.
Morning. You make me wake up.
All we can see is your head.
How active?
Not that much of you.
I just want to hear how active is it. It is at PAWS today.
Or what?
There you go.
You're fine.
It's time for some
There
SMS
we are.
info.
There
All
we are.
right. Let's get
I
into
have
some
to prop the thing so it's a better angle.
Saturday morning Stateline show, SMS info, unofficially brought to you by Ultralize. Remember, Ultralize is the app that enables volunteers to track and verify and even maintain their own community service data for a lifetime. Check out Ultralize in your app store. Tell a better story. Live a better life. We already talked about Aaron Rodgers being traded to the Jets. It's done. And it's all done. And likewise, if you've been following the news this week, there was a rapid unscheduled disassembly. Did you hear about SpaceX? Or was that
No.
It's my new favorite 3-word descriptor. Thank you to SpaceX for rapid unscheduled disassembly. The rocket ship that they test ran and launched out of Texas, the largest rocket ever launched. It flew for about 4 minutes, and then when they tried to hit the button to disengage the fuel tanks, it all blew up. The whole thing.
Wow.
Oh.
Rapid unscheduled disassembly is what they called it.
That's rude.
Boom, it blew up. That's rude. That's right. RUD. So, stuff that's going around the area. Let's go ahead and share another screen. I'm going to get rid of this one, and I'm going to grab this one. There it is. We have GoRockford.com is the place to check out so many things, including an event today happening at the Banquet Hall Expo Center at the IBEW Union Hall 364 on Mill Road. That's just off of Perryville, just south of State. The Access Soul, Mind, Body, Spirit Expo is today from 10 to 4. Over 60 vendors and food trucks, holistic health, wellness, and more today from 10 till 4. Concerts on the Creek. We've been talking about them for the last few years. They do these free concerts on Saturdays at the Spring Creek Church on the corner of Spring Creek and Spring Brook, right there off of Alpine. Concerts on the Creek today presents Nikolai Janitsky, a world touring baritone, performing some of his favorite pop and folk songs, in addition to the stirring operatic selections for which he is known around the world. Seating is limited and donations are appreciated. Doors open at 2, concerts at 3. Should be a great day to have a concert on the Creek. Discovery's Town exhibit is continuing at the Discovery Center Museum. Children can explore a variety of settings, including a vet clinic, a post office, a theater, a pizza shop, and more. That's all at Discovery Center Museum, 711 North Main Street in Rockford. Open daily. There is a fee, $11 ticket fee for the public, free to museum members and children ages 1 and younger. It's Independent Bookstore Day today, April 29th. Saturday, April 29th is National Indie Bookstore Day. One of our indie bookstores in town is Maze Books over on South 3rd Street. They're open from noon to 6 today. When's the last time you were in a bookstore? Go pick up a paperback or something you haven't read before and start a new book for the spring.
Actually, about a month ago, I was at Barnes & Noble over at Cherryville Mall, and I bought a trivia book.
Sweet. There you
Yeah.
go. Get
I
back
like
in-
going in there every once in a while. I don't get out that way much, but
You're going to hear cannons and machine gun fire and all kinds of medic. It's going to happening at the Midway Village Museum because it's World War I reenactment days this weekend. The 2-day public special history event is back. The Great War, World War I, dozens of reenactors, soldiers, civilians from the United States and Europe, all around the historic village. And that is $15 admission for adults, $12 for kids. And it's today 10 to 4 and tomorrow 10 to 4 at Midway Village Museum Center. Also this weekend at the UW Sports Factory, Oscar Mike Foundation presents the United States Wheelchair Rugby National Championship. There's a bunch of teams here this weekend. The USWRA has their national championship tournament right here in Rockford. Games have already started this morning and are going all day today and tomorrow. The United States Wheelchair Rugby Association is a 501c3 nonprofit providing oversight and promotes development and executes administration of the sport of wheelchair rugby across the United States since 1988. Very, very cool. So that's what's going around, and you can check out more at GoRockford.com. But other interesting things going on right now. Bed Bath and Beyond. If you have coupons, you better use them right now because they're going away. Yeah, they're declaring bankruptcy. All the stores are expected to be closed by June 30th or sooner. Bed Bath & Beyond's 360 locations and its 120 Bye Bye Baby stores will all be closed by the end of June. Bankruptcy and liquidation is underway unless someone swoops in and buys them out. I guess it's still possible, but retail's a tough gig right now. Speaking of retail, we've talked about Dyson products in the past here on the show, and we talked about Dyson making headphones. They're available now for $949. Dyson's new headphones. They come with a detachable air purifier that makes you look a little bit like a cyberpunk. Supposedly, it eliminates 99% of all pollutants. And I haven't seen a picture of them yet, but $949. Dyson headphones, air purifier. You probably look like something straight out of The Mandalorian or something.
$20 Sony.
Not $9.99 Farm and Fleet. Right there. No, Menards. Maybe I had those at Menards. I don't know. Those are cheapies.
Yeah, these are cheapies. These are good. They're very good, but they're cheapies. I have my Sennheisers. My good Sennheisers. They're over here somewhere that I used at the radio station, and I'm waiting for that day that we finally
ever go back. We have the world may never know. The NFL draft has been taking place the last couple of days. 259 players are going to be drafted into the National Football League when it's all said and done today. And into millionaire status, the final pick of this year's draft is projected to sign a contract worth almost $4 million in the high threes.
Wow.
If you're draftee number 259 and you make the team in the NFL, you're probably going to make about $3.5 to $4 million.
And they called him Mr. Irrelevant, which was Brock Purdy, who was the starting quarterback for the Niners.
Yes, he played very well at the end of the season. He stepped in.
He certainly did. I think he's 7-0
Definitely made
in the regular season. Oh, absolutely. And he was a good quarterback. Now, here's the thing. This is the mind game that people play. Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant. So everybody thinks, just based on, by definition, he's irrelevant. He's not going to make the team because a lot of guys who are the last pick or the last 10 picks or anybody in the 7th round, they don't end up on an NFL team. What about somebody like a Kurt Warner who was undrafted? And there are a lot of them that were undrafted. Kurt Warner is a Hall of Fame quarterback, a Super Bowl winner, a league MVP, one of the best of all time. Maybe top 20 of all time, which is saying something for an undrafted free agent. So I don't put any stock in where you were drafted or whatever the circumstances around it were. Tom Brady, a 6th round draft, is that correct?
Number 199 or something?
He was late. Yeah, he was really late. I don't know if it was 6th or 5th round, but Brett Favre was a later pick. So many of them that are
plenty of undrafted players.
And that 6th round pick, by the way,
your favorite football team has a huge list of guys they hope don't get drafted because they are going to swoop in and sign them to the practice squad or to at least to the training camp to come in and try out and push their players. And they're like, this guy might have a chance. Hopefully no one else has seen him on the radar because we want him. And it happens every year. Somebody gets in there.
So the Packers drafted a linebacker, Lucas Van Ness or something. Yeah. Apparently he's really, really good. He better be.
He has a very similar playing style to the Watt brothers, JJ, TJ, those guys who both are going to be probably Hall of Famers. JJ's just TJ
probably both of them. Absolutely. TJ might even be better than JJ, and JJ is an absolute stud. So I know we're boring Joann with Packer talk, but let me just say one more thing. They missed out.
I didn't notice.
Oh yeah, they missed out on Mike Mayer from Notre Dame. I really wanted them to get him
tight end
as their tight end because we lost Robert Tunyon.
They did get a tight
Not
end.
happy about that.
They did pick another tight end and a
They
wide
did?
receiver
Okay.
yesterday in the second round. So
All right.
for all the Packer fans who
All
are
right.
just beside themselves, mad and livid that the Packers didn't get an offensive weapon for their new quarterback, they got 2 in the second round, and second round picks have been gems. We're talking Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson. There's a huge list of second round
Probably
wide
Randall
receivers.
Cobb too.
I think Randall Cobb too is one of them. So chill out, Packer fans.
Well, the Packers have never, I heard this stat, in 21 years, they have not taken a wide receiver or a tight end in the first round. 21 years. And Colin Cowherd said this on his show. He said, and guess what? They still are one of the best teams in the league with offensive line, everything else. They also haven't taken offensive linemen very high. They usually go second round. They're always defense, it seems like, or maybe a running back, or maybe a quarterback, like Jordan Love was a couple of years ago. They don't take offensive linemen, wide receivers, or tight ends. And yet they're still always among the tops in offense. So maybe they do know what they're doing. So I'm just sitting back going, you know what? It's your thing. I'll just root for you.
Fans realize what's truly important in the NFL, and it's line play. If you don't win at the line, it's hard to win the game. So
you could have the best quarterback in the world.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a good line, he's just going to get killed back there.
Look how
Matthew Stafford didn't do anything until he went to LA, the Rams, with a great line. And he wins the Super Bowl his first year out there. So.
All those years in Detroit, he was excellent, and the rest of the team pretty much stunk. So, yeah, that's
well, he was 90% of their offense. Every play went through him, which it normally does for a quarterback. But he was good enough to be able to complete those passes despite he was on the run. That's what made Stafford so great. I'm guessing that if Matthew Stafford went to the Patriots instead of Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford would have had 3, 4, 5 Super Bowls. Maybe not. I don't know. At least a couple. Right.
All right. Few other random things here this week. Argentina is dealing with its worst dengue outbreak in years. I think that's how it's pronounced. DENGUE. Dengue outbreaks. Scientists are combating the outbreak threat by using atomic radiation to sterilize and alter the DNA of male mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are spreading this disease, and I think that's how it's pronounced. DENGUE. Dengue. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah, I'm not sure.
If you're going to Argentina, be careful. Don't get stung by a mosquito. It could be really, really bad. Italian police found nearly 2 tons of cocaine floating in the sea off of Sicily. 2 tons. That's a whole lot of cocaine bears, if you're following along.
Yeah. It's by the way, it's dengue.
Dengue
is what it's how it's pronounced. I just looked it up. Sorry.
Scary stuff.
Dengue.
The animatronic dragon Maleficent at Disneyland burst into flames last weekend. There was a big, huge show at Disneyland, and in part of the show is this dragon, fire-breathing dragon, chasing around something, and apparently the fire swooped back onto the costume itself and caught it on fire. But the animatronic dragon Maleficent is no more. It's been turned into toast. And finally, there's a website out now that shows you what your view will be at the venue you're going to. If you're going to a venue and you want to find out what the seat might look like, they've got this awesome website now. And I'm always liking to share this goofy stuff like this. A view from my seat. aviewfrommyseat.com. So let's say we want to check out teams. Oh, look at all these teams. Let's go to a football stadium. What do you say? Football stadium. You want to know what your seat will look like if you go see the Dallas Cowboys play? There's a seating chart. There's schedules. But here's a view of section 439. This is what your seat will look like at AT&T Stadium. Bring your binoculars.
Wow. Yeah.
That's way up there.
Let's do Lambeau.
Let's see if we can find. Let's see if we can find the Green Bay Packers. Where are you, Green Bay? Boom, Lambeau Field. Hey, everybody, look at that. Oh, look at this. This is about where I sat the last time I was at Lambeau Field.
I like those seats. How do you get sideline standing room?
Oh, gosh, right? Section 136, row 29, seat 20. Here's your view right here.
It's about where I was.
I was
when I
about
was
20 more rows higher than this when I took my dad to the Rams game last year.
I was probably a little higher than that as well, but it was that end zone.
Yeah.
And up a little higher. It was a great night, a little misty, and it was November. I would have thought it would have been like really, really cold. It wasn't. It was 49 degrees.
The tunnel where the guys run in is over here on the left. You can't see it. It's blocked by this guy's baseball cap. But tunnel where the players run out.
His cap off.
Yeah.
Cool. So anyway, it's a view from myseat.com if you want to.
Oh, interesting.
At what the
It would
venue.
even take you longer to choose a seat because you'd be looking at all the different options. Like, ooh, I don't know. Maybe I want to be here. And I don't know.
At least.
Yeah, I hope this guy with the hat isn't sitting there when I'm sitting there.
Really.
Yeah.
When you go to a theater, especially if you've never been.
I want to just, when you go to the movie theater, you have to choose your seat now.
Yeah, and it just irritates me so much. There's 8 people in the theater.
Because I usually go to the old lady matinees.
So you have more choice.
And we went one time, we had to pick our seats. We were the only people in the theater.
Yeah,
I don't think
So-
that would have been hilarious if you would have picked a different seat and somebody came and says, "Oh, excuse me,
Yeah, that's right.
you're in the wrong seat. You're supposed to be over here at 8:23 and 24."
Yeah, I just think it's ridiculous. I can see if it's busy, but not when there's just a few people there.
I know.
I can't believe you got my seat, man.
Yeah.
All right, I'll move.
We call that,
Or when you're the only
how
one
we
in
call
the
that,
theater.
I learned this in church because we're having a discussion. We are SOL, single older ladies.
Okay.
Because they were
I
talking
was
about
hoping.
widows that needed help from the church. I said, no. Divorced ladies need help too. So we changed it to single older ladies needing help. SOL.
SOL. All right.
Soul now.
So,
Okay, so the other thing is when you go into the movie theater and there's like 6 people in there, and then somebody comes in there with their screaming kids and they sit in your same row, like 2 seats away from you. You could sit anywhere.
why'd you do that?
Get back there.
Let's
You
sit
know?
on top of you.
Yeah, exactly. And the kids can throw popcorn at you.
Well, Joann, do we have some folks or some cats to check out before we go to our big number of the week? Let's
I can hear the number. I must have come out too late. You changed
check out
my.
all pause for a while. Bum, bum,
Yeah,
bum.
it isn't coming up like it usually does. What's going on here? Every week is a new adventure.
Same technology, just a new adventure.
I don't know why.
815 pause 815-299-7297, the phone number.
No, I
Two.
turned myself off.
While you're getting that ready, by the way,
No,
next
I got it now.
the New Milford Community Garage Sales, the annual New Milford Community Garage sales are taking place
Oh, there it
Thursday,
is.
Friday,
There's
Saturday,
a copy right now.
May 4th, 5th, and 6th. There we go. It's
She
a live
actually has an adoption today, so that's why she's here already.
She's out.
Oh, she's a sweetheart.
She's
A little German Shepherd, I think. And then here's our list that I need to mirror.
Look
You
at
just have
those.
to look at it backwards today because I can't seem to.
One more day left in May. So one more day of adoptions to that list.
No, I can't. I'm having trouble.
One more day until May is what I meant. One more day left in
Yeah.
April.
4 dogs and 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. my 3 cats.
Sweet. Good job, everybody. Very nice.
And this is, I'm going to step on some before I go back there. This is our isolation, and I'm very quietly coming back here because this is the fun area of PAWS. No, I didn't want to volunteer for that. This is beautiful cat. This is actually
Wow.
found in an abandoned home. A mother cat, an aunt cat, and 3 kittens. And then here's Jody's doing the fun task of PAWS. And then here's a couple little kittens here. Yeah, little fluffy.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Those are not ready for adoption yet. They're that's why they're in isolation. We're kind of low on foster homes to take care of mothers and kittens. So we have some of them at the shelter. So we always could use more volunteers. So this cat heard a dog was here, and her eyes are like,
But she's not hiding. Right down the middle.
no, but her eyes are wide open, and she's like, I thought I heard a dog. These are my favorite, the calicos.
Hello, calicos.
This one I don't even know. I'm gonna call him Theo. I can't say that. Thibodeau. I'm calling him Theo. Sorry, Thibodeau. Sometimes they make up crazy names. And they're pretty much,
Oh, look at that. Looks like my Barney cat.
oh, is the orange one gone? Oh, the orange one's down here.
There we go.
Oh, he's eating. I don't see, I can't get him listed. Oh, you take him from his lunch? He's a beautiful cat.
Wow.
I'm gonna take a picture with you with Nacho.
Is that Nacho cat?
Yeah.
Not your cat. The cat's name is Nacho. Not your cat. It's my cat. So that's
And the bowl of candy.
yeah. You got to keep the volunteers happy.
That's right.
All right.
See if I
Last
can.
time I was in there, Joanne, I stole a couple of pieces of your candy.
Oh dear.
You didn't
I don't
notice.
think that.
You weren't there.
I don't think that's really stealing when it's offered to the public.
I know. I told the girls, I said, tell Joanne I took a couple pieces.
When were
Okay.
you here?
Oh, I don't know, a month and a
Oh.
half ago, 2 months ago. I don't know.
PAWSHS.org for all the information. PAWSHS.org. Link to Pet Finder so you can see a whole bunch of photos of the available cats and dogs. Check them out. Awesome. Yeah, I think that covers pretty much everything except the big number of the week, right? So let's get into that. What do you say?
Sounds good. Tom's
Works for me.
gonna,
It's a big lead, Joanne. It's race to 10. Currently, Tomley's 4-1.
well, I thought it was 5-1.
He's up.
I'm setting you up for your big comeback. Don't worry. You got this. Don't you worry.
Scripted, just like the National Football League. All right.
That's right.
Share your comments, share your guests on our LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube channels. The big number of the week this week is 600,000. And the answer is flames or floats. Flames or floats. Tom already gave me his guess through his text earlier.
Inside shoot.
So, Joann, 3, 2, 1, your guess is?
I'm going to go with flames.
Good.
And I went with floats.
I go with
so-
flames. Tom's going with floats. That means someone is getting a point here this week. Let's see. Bum, 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 bum. So the flame answer for today, Orissa Kelly. Have you ever heard of the name Orissa Kelly? Orissa. Orissa.
I have not.
She made $130,000 working as a performer last year, doing something pretty amazing. She shoots flaming arrows with her feet while in a handstand.
Huh.
How's that for standing out in your field? She is a performance archer.
Man.
Yeah. I think she was on America's Got Talent, if I'm
I
pretty
think that
sure.
should be a point.
So
Performance archer. I like that.
she stands on her hands, picks up a bow with her feet and an arrow, and shoots it. And to make it even more dramatic, she'll light the arrow on fire and really make things amazing. Flaming arrows, amazing. So Tom gets a point, and he's way out in front now, 5-1.
There's your 5-1. Yeah.
This probably isn't that great, but there's a 600,000 square mile clump of plastic and other trash floating around in the Pacific Ocean. You've heard about it probably.
Yeah,
Great.
Oh yeah.
disgusting.
It's the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is what they call it. It's become home to dozens of species of coastal creatures. Coastal creatures. And it's not on the coast. It's in the middle of the ocean. These are species that can thrive and reproduce this far from shore in a massive pile of trash. It's kind of wild, maybe even surprising, since they wouldn't typically be found in the open ocean. But it's 600,000 square miles. It's a
What kind of animals are they?
I'm
Do I have
like
to look
Well,
that up?
birds,
crustacean
obviously,
type
but
things, smaller micro. It's a microplastic
It's
wasteland.
not really mammals.
we're right. They couldn't be rats or anything. They have to be birds, right? Because they would have had to have flown there.
Let's see if I can get in.
They're not going to be able to swim out there.
Now, this is something we'll research in our downtime.
It's let's see. Unlike organic material that decomposes and sinks within months, plastic debris floats in the oceans for a much longer time, giving creatures the opportunity to survive and reproduce in the open ocean for years. Diversity, native, pelagic, open ocean species. These are words I haven't heard of before, guys.
Yeah.
Tiny species, things that you might find that are get clumped on the bless you on the back bottoms of like cruise ships and stuff.
Oh,
Kind of scrape
okay.
that stuff off every once in a while. Barnacles.
I know when we went on a cruise, which was a long time ago, we happened to look out a port window and they were just throwing out bottles and, they threw everything, all the garbage got thrown into the ocean and it was just disgusting.
That's wrong. That's just wrong. Anyway, so there you go. That's your big number of the week this week. Congratulations, Tom. You are way out.
Tom is a winner. He's halfway there.
I'm halfway there.
Thank you.
That's right. I got 3 more wins before I start my slide, and then Joann takes over and wins.
Thanks again to Zach for joining us from Mission Driven Impact. Check out his website. We got that link in the chat today, so you can go right to it and read more about what he does. And like I said, if you are a manager of a not-for-profit, on the board of a not-for-profit, or just passionately support a not-for-profit, I would highly recommend you looking into what Zach does and see if he can't help you do it more, do it better. All right, that's going to wrap things up for this week. Remember, you change the world when you help one person be a blessing to someone this week. We'll meet you back here next week for our first May 2023 version of the Saturday Morning Stateline Show. And guess what? Next week's episode will be episode number 160, and only 3 away from our 500th total show.
Wow.
We are nearing 500, guys, from when we started.
500th total show. Are you talking about with radio and everything?
Yes.
Wow.
We are nearing.
We're gonna have like the big number should be 500 that day.
Oh,
Now you already
there
gave
goes
it
Tom
away.
ruining it now.
It's our.
Sorry.
It's how many shows we've had. Shows. I picked shows.
Shows.
Okay.
Today was episode 496, if you're totally keeping track from when we started way back in 2013. So anyway,
Yeah.
have a great weekend. Get out and enjoy the day. It should be beautiful.
We
Bye-bye,
still
y'all.
like each other. Isn't that a
We do.
miracle?
It's a miracle.
Yeah, it is.
Bye, guys.
One of these days we'll all get to do breakfast again.
Let's do that.
Then we should do that for the 500th show. Why
There
don't
we
do
go.
that?
We might do that. We might do that.
All right.